The little girl stood at the edge of the parking lot with both hands wrapped around the handlebars of a beat-up pink bicycle, its plastic streamers torn and its back tire nearly flat. She couldn't have been more than 8 years old. Her shoes didn't match. Her coat was 2 sizes too big. But her eyes, dark, steady, and older than any child's eyes should ever be, scanned the row of motorcycles parked outside Hank's diner without a single flicker of fear. When the first biker stepped out, leather jacket heavy with road patches and a beard that hadn't seen a razor in months, she walked straight up to him and said it plain as Sunday morning, "Buy my bike, sir. Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days." Big Roy froze. He was a man who had ridden through 42 states, buried 2 brothers, and cried exactly once in the last decade. He looked down at that child, then at the rusted pink bicycle, then back at her face, and something inside his chest cracked clean open. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked, dropping to one knee on the cracked asphalt. "Lily," she said. "And I'm not asking for charity. The bike is worth something. I want a fair trade." By then, 3 more bikers had drifted out of the diner: Marcus, a quiet man from Louisville, Deb, the only woman in the crew and the sharpest mind among them, and a young one they all called Cricket, barely 22. They stood in a loose half-circle, listening. "Where's your mama, Lily?" Deb asked, crouching down so she was eye level with the girl. "Home. She told me to stay inside, but I heard her crying last night after she thought I was sleeping. She said we had nothing." Lily's jaw tightened. "She gave me this bike for my birthday 2 years ago. She saved up for 6 months. I know what it cost her." The silence that followed was the kind that presses against your ribs. Deb looked at Roy. Roy looked at Marcus. Cricket stared at his boots. "Who's your daddy, baby?" Marcus asked gently. Something shifted in Lily's expression, not sadness, but something harder. "He left. After he took everything. Cleaned out Mama's savings account, sold her car when she was at work, and disappeared with his girlfriend. Police said it wasn't criminal because they were married." Her voice didn't shake, but her fingers tightened on the handlebars. "Mama tried to get a new job, but she hurt her back at the old one and the company let her go. She doesn't complain. She never complains." Deb stood up slowly. Her hands had gone very still. "Lily," she said, "what street do you live on?" The girl hesitated. She'd been taught not to talk to strangers. But something about these people, the way they hadn't laughed, hadn't looked away, hadn't treated her like a problem to be walked past, made her decide. She told them. What happened next moved fast, the way things do when a group of people stop overthinking and start acting from the gut. Deb went inside and spoke to Hank, who'd been listening through the screen door. Within 20 minutes, a box was packed: sandwiches, soup in sealed containers, 2 bottles of juice, a bag of groceries pulled together from the diner's own kitchen. Roy peeled $200 from his wallet and tucked it into an envelope without a word. Marcus called his sister, who managed an apartment assistance nonprofit 2 towns over. Cricket held the door. They didn't drive up in a roar of engines. They parked a block away and walked, Lily leading them in her mismatched shoes, the pink bicycle squeaking beside her. Her mother's name was Carol. She opened the door to find her daughter on the step flanked by 4 strangers bearing food, and her face did something complicated, shame and relief and love all tangling together. She tried to speak. Couldn't. "Ma'am," Roy said, holding out the groceries, "your daughter is the bravest person I've met in 20 years of living on the road." "That's not a small thing." Carol pressed one hand over her mouth. Her eyes filled. They stayed 2 hours. Deb sat with Carol at the kitchen table and wrote down every resource she knew: assistance programs, legal aid contacts for what the husband had done, the nonprofit number Marcus had called. There were options. There were people who helped. Carol hadn't known where to look, and she'd been too exhausted and too ashamed to look hard. Before they left, Roy knelt down in front of Lily one more time. "We don't want the bike," he said. "It was never ours to take." He pressed the envelope into her small hand. "But I want you to know something. The fact that you walked up to a stranger and asked for help, not for yourself, but for your mama, that took more guts than most adults I know. Don't ever let the world teach you out of that." Lily looked at the envelope, then at him. "Are you angels?" she asked, completely serious. Big Roy laughed, a real laugh, warm and wide. "No, honey. We're just people who almost missed you." She hugged him. It was sudden and small and total. He hugged her back, careful as if she were made of something precious, which she was. 3 weeks later, a card arrived at Hank's diner addressed to the bikers. Inside, in a child's careful handwriting, "Mama got a job. We have food. Thank you for stopping." Hank pinned it above the register, where it stayed.